stand big on it.
Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
And the Tennessee Volunteers are the SEC Tournament champions. It's been a long time coming. The last time Tennessee won this tournament was in 1979, but they've got another trophy to put in the trophy case at Thompson Bowling Arena.
The 2023 SEC champions, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Hit high in the air into left field. Stevenson circling in front of the fence into foul ground. He goes into the corner, makes the catch, and that's the ball game.
And the Volunteers will hold the trophy.
How much fun is this, man? God, I love it. High fly, deep right, and Tennessee walks it off.
The 2-2 to Denton.
Well hit, deep left field, it is gone!
For the win for the Volunteers. From 40. On the way, a knuckleball. He got it!
How much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top, this is college football at its absolute best.
Welcome into another episode of the Fanatics Show. My name is Skylar, co-host Michael. How are we doing today?
We're doing pretty good, my guy. It's been an up and down week, but all in all, it's been a good week. So I'm ready to get this started today.
Yeah, I think that actually hits the nail on the head. Like how are we feeling as Vol fans? And honestly, it's been a lot of up and down. And we'll get into that. We got 3 big segments today. We're gonna split basketball up since the Lady Vols we're in SEC tournament play. But so we'll have segment 1 be we'll start there. Honestly, probably Lady Vols basketball. Segment 2 be about the men's basketball team and how they finished the regular season, and then we'll wrap up segment 3 with some softball, baseball action. But before we get into that, Michael, do you by chance have a shout out of the week?
This week I do not have a shout out. It's been a little bit slow on shout outs.
That's totally fine. I actually have one myself. So we actually went to the baseball game Friday night to watch the men's take on Illinois in the series opener, and I just got a shout out to Vol Nation. My wife was carrying her license and her debit card in her pocket. Went and used the restroom. It fell out of her pocket. We were freaking out.
Oh man!
Somebody was going to steal her identity. Well, a fan, I don't know her name, my wife does, but she's going to get the shout out. She actually looked up my wife on Facebook, sent her a message like instantly, and we were able to link up, get her cards back. So that fan out there, you know who you are. Massive shout out for you, and massive shout out to Vol Nation, because that was kind of a scary moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always scary whenever something like that happens. So it's good that everything worked out the way that it needed to.
That's right. I still joked about it. She was like, thank gosh for that. I was like, no, thank gosh you were at a Vol game, because if you were at a Bama game or something like that, it probably wouldn't have happened. So, no, thank you, Vol Nation, for making us look good. I really do appreciate that. But before we get into the show, I would like to remind you guys that we are sponsored by Chris Smith Insurance. As a homeowner, Chris was once let down by an insurance company, so he decided to start one of his own, where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance. Give him a call at 865-272-3387. Thank you, Chris, for all you do and for supporting us. And Michael, if you want to shout out the segment 1 sponsor, and let's just jump right into this thing, man. I'm kind of excited to talk about it.
Yeah, our segment 1 sponsor is Jeff Mole with the Optimal Asbestos Service, your trusted environmental consulting firm in Knoxville, Tennessee. State licensed and insured, we specialize in asbestos air quality management for commercial buildings and homes. You can find Jeff at 865-223-3297 or on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So, Jeff, thank you for being our segment 1 sponsor as well.
Well, dude, let's talk about the Lady Vols basketball team. This week, obviously, they wrapped up regular season last weekend, began the SEC tournament this week. They were the 5 seed. Bama won their game, so they got the double bye. But Tennessee started the tournament. Who did they play? Who was it? Kentucky? It was Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky. Let's see. I've got the game right here. Sorry. No, wrong Kentucky game. We'll talk about that one later. Lady Vols started off against Kentucky in the SEC tournament, and I do have to give a shout out to Kentucky for just absolutely taking Rickea Jackson out of this game. She was in foul trouble early. She only played 17 minutes in this game, but credit to the Lady Vols because other players stepped up where they needed to, especially Sarah Puckett, who, as you can see here, she had 22 points in the game to go along with 8 rebounds in the game. And then Jewel Spear with 10, Tess Darby with a double-double, her first career double-double with 10 points, 10 rebounds. So Lady Vols stepped up where they needed to, and they got the big win in this game.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head. Sarah Puckett having the big day, something we've been waiting on for quite some time. She finally kind of, broke the chains, broke the shackles, so to say. But I think the biggest shift in this game was actually Tess Darby off the bench. Her coming off, getting the 10 points to 10 rebounds off the bench, something that we've really not seen at all this year, something that was kind of new. Kentucky didn't really know how to respond. Big day, had 3 Lady Vols in double-digit scoring. That's something that we need. And we had several more right at 8 points, 7 points. So, I mean, a full team effort here. Something that you need when your big guy or big gal goes down. Something that we kind of see with the men's, too, is like when DK doesn't have that massive game, you need the whole team to step up around him. And this right here was a picture-perfect example of how the ladies rallied around Rickea Jackson when she wasn't playing at her best because she was shut down by Kentucky. I mean, you got to credit Kentucky's defense for locking in and keying in on her. But, man, Tennessee, I believe, the Lady Vols did. I mean, they're playing some of their best ball right now. They really took it to Kentucky, and they got to advance to the second round of the tournament. Or that was maybe round 2. They advanced to round 3. Yeah. So they got the first week bye. So they advanced to round 3. But before we talk about that big game, I mean, is there anything else really? Because I know Kentucky, in the regular season when we played them, they tried to go in the paint really hard, and that's where Tamari Key just had a field day blocking everything at the rim. I didn't feel like it was – I think Kentucky learned from that, but just couldn't get the shots to fall. At 35%, field goal percentage, that's not going to get it done.
No, and, Kentucky kept this game close for the majority of the game. It was the fourth quarter where the Lady Vols, they finally just took control. And, looking at the score here, I watched this game. The second quarter was just an absolute struggle. I think both teams shot for a combined like 18% in the second quarter. Kentucky scored 8 and Tennessee scored 9. But the third quarter and the fourth quarter, Tennessee just kind of broke it open slowly but surely. And a lot of that had to do with Sarah Puckett. She was 4 of 6 from the three-point line in the game. And I know she hit a couple of those in the first half, but, I mentioned it and you mentioned it as well. Tess Darby was exactly what was needed in this game. Once Rickea Jackson went down, there was somebody else that had to step up, and she did so on the boards as well as putting the ball in the hole. And, you also mentioned it. Tennessee is starting to play their best ball right now, which is exactly what needs to happen. You play your best ball in March.
Yeah.
And, let's get right on into the next game.
Before you do, though, there's one thing that we haven't really talked about, and that's that rebound difference.
Oh, yeah.
Second chance points, rebounds difference. I mean, 50 to 33, and then you get 17 to their 7 assists. That right there, the ladies are playing with confidence. And, the field goal percentage may not have been the best, but overall, still a really good day. And, there was individuals that just had games on the rebounds. Like Tess Darby had 10, Rickea Jackson had 9, Sarah Puckett had 8, and then everybody that played in the game pretty much had a rebound. Like, it's not like nobody was just not getting the boards. So, I mean, I think that played a major key in getting the swim. But, yeah, that sent them on to round 3. Let's get into it. They played Alabama, and they whooped Alabama. I mean, this game wasn't even close. What did you think about the Powder Blues, by the way?
Dude, I love the Powder Blues.
I love them as well. But, no, this game right here, just a massive win. This is where I was like, man, these Lady Vols are really – this is what I've been talking about all year, when they can really play to their potential, that they're tough to beat. And they were making shots, 50% from the field. 10 of 13 from free throw, but they were 7 of 19 from the 3-point line. But overall, again, look at the rebounds to assists down here at the bottom right of your screen. That right there, you can have a bad night shooting, and if you're winning the rebounds and the assist margin by that much, you have a chance to win every game that you're in. But Alabama's lack of 3-point shooting here hurt them in a massive way. But our defense really stepped up and played some ball today, or Saturday. What were your thoughts on this game?
This game was just start to finish Tennessee domination.
Friday.
Friday. It was just start to finish domination. Tennessee took a 5-point lead at the end of the first, extended it out to a 13-point lead at the end or at halftime, and then outscored Alabama 26-15 by the end of the third quarter. And I mean, they never looked back, which was, I think, key in this game. You've got in the bottom left there, Jewel Spear had 24 in the game. Rakia Jackson 22 with 9 rebounds, just shy of that double-double. And once again, you had just other players chip in. You had Kaya Wynn with 6, Julian Hollingshed with 6 as well, Tamari Key with 8, Sarah Puckett with 10. She was in double figures with 7 rebounds, and Jordan Powell. Jordan Powell, she had 5 in the game, or Jasmine Powell, sorry. It was just a full team effort in this one. And you also held one of Alabama's best players to 1 point in the game. She actually fouled out in the game. She only played 18 minutes, and that is Essence Cody.
Yeah.
She's not necessarily the best player on the team, but the effort that she puts in, and she averages 6.3 rebounds a game, which is that's big. And to be able to hold her to 1 point and foul her out of the game, that's huge.
It's huge, especially in tournament ball. I mean, a regular season game, you foul somebody out. I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? But in tournament play, that's almost like not a strategy, but it kind of is a strategy. I mean, like, you got to think about it. When you want that best player to either get locked down on offense, right? But then secondly, when you're on offense, you want to attack that girl. That way you draw those fouls, get her out of the game, make them forced to use somebody off the bench, make them sit some minutes. And, that's some of the things that you got to do to win ball games. And so credit Kelly Harper and the game plan in this game and the ladies for executing because this was a big game, a big win. I mean, and I love the fact that it was never in doubt. Like, really, for the most part. I mean, I know they kind of battled with Kentucky, but the first 2 games, really, I was just watching. I'm like, I was never really afraid of losing. And I just knew that we were the better team. And so to come out here and beat them the way we did was very nice considering, and this is off topic, but the Alabama men's team is just on a landslide right now. And so, like, seeing us beat Alabama women's team as well, it was a great day for a Vols fan before we had not so great of a day yesterday.
Yeah, well, it was it was a good revenge for the regular season in which Tennessee went down to Tuscaloosa and dropped the game to Alabama down there. But before we get into yesterday's game, I just want to talk about, Tennessee and South Carolina. Yesterday was the 3rd time that they have faced off this season. And the first game was in Knoxville. South Carolina, in the end, pulled it out by about 13 to 15, something like that.
Yeah, we were non-existent in the fourth quarter. That's what
fourth quarter was non-existent. Then you go into this game. We'll just talk briefly about it because this happened last Sunday, right as we were live. Lady Vols dropped one in Columbia by 8, in which the Lady Vols, once again, it was very, very close the entire game, and then they actually cut the lead down to 3 or 4, I believe it was, with about 4 minutes to go, and then South Carolina started knocking down a few free throws there towards the end. Tennessee couldn't score again. Rakia Jackson had another big game in this one. But I want to throw myself a little bit of a bone. We kind of talked about it last week. I mentioned, if Tennessee makes it to South Carolina in the quarterfinals, or in the semifinals, is the 3rd time a charm. And it almost was.
It was. It almost was. I mean, and credit to Lady Vols. I believe this game started and we were like down 13 or 15-1. It was probably the worst start to a basketball game you could have.
And Tennessee did not have a field goal until like 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, I believe. I think at one point in the game we were actually down by like 23.
Yeah, 23 points.
Yeah. And the ladies actually came all the way back. Not only came back, took the lead. Just a gutsy performance. The Lady Vols, I mean, they made it hard on themselves, but they didn't give up. And I think that makes me really proud of the program. I mean, this is a South Carolina team that's like 36-0. I mean, look, let me ask you this before we really get into the game. Going into the SEC tournament, I don't want to sound like losers that we're making excuses or anything, but like, wasn't the goal just to get to the semifinals, right? Like, we asked each other what would be the goal for the Lady Vols, and we both kind of said semifinals, right?
Yeah, we both said to feel good about Tennessee going in the postseason that it needed to be the semifinals.
Right.
And the Lady Vols did that.
And knowing what side of the bracket we were on, making it to the finals was about as good of a shot as Tennessee winning out the regular season, both of which almost happened. But you got those whole like realistic expectations type thing. Tennessee, I mean, there was no fan out there without being a homer is going out there and saying that we were making the championship game is what I'm trying to say. And so for them to even have a chance and to have a really darn good chance at it, we have to take that in consideration and appreciate how they played this week. Yeah. There's a lot of fans out there that are just bashing the last ones, and I'm going to here in just a second. Don't worry, I'm about to be one of those fans. But you can't just completely throw away what they did to get there, to get to that moment. All right, we have to really appreciate that, appreciate what this team has fought for. And I strongly believe that not only they'll be in the tournament, but they're not even going to be one of the last seed. Like, they'll be a 7-8 seed, I think. I think they're in. And maybe they can make a run. And I think they're one of the best teams that can hang with anybody. I said that all year, and they proved it to me in this game. That when they're playing good, they can play with anybody in the country. This was not a South Carolina team that was on a bad night of shooting. They still shot 42%, 43% from the field, hit some threes. This South Carolina team, they're big, they rebound the ball, and they're not selfish, right? So they passed around. Yep. But we caught them in a cold spill, and we almost capitalized on it. And, what were your thoughts? I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that we got to appreciate what the Vols have done to get to this point, not just harp on that last play, which I am going to do very shortly.
Yeah, and I will say, I wish I would have caught more of this game than I did. But this game was going on at the same time that the men were playing Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So I was focused on that Tennessee-Kentucky game, but this one, as soon as that Kentucky-Tennessee game was over, I flipped it over, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Is Tennessee about to do it? And, it was so heartbreaking how the game ended, but just the effort that the Lady Vols played with in this game was unbelievable because you got down at the end of the first quarter, 19-6. And at halftime, it was still a 13-point deficit as both teams scored 17 points in the second quarter.
Yep.
You only gained 1 in the third. It was still a 12-point deficit at the end of the third, and you outscore South Carolina 25-14 in the fourth quarter to almost pull the upset. And I have no words for the effort that the Lady Vols played with yesterday. It was just unbelievable. It was inspiring almost.
Yeah, I mean, putting up a 23-point first half, and it's just like, wow, that was ugly. And then to turn around and follow it up with a 50-point second half, which is the complete 180 of how that first match against South Carolina went, where we were just non-existent in that fourth quarter. Yeah. Where here, we almost used that fourth quarter to beat South Carolina.
But let me say this as well. You mentioned it earlier that this Tennessee team has proven that they can play with and beat anybody. They did this yesterday, but they have to have a full game effort for that to happen. And one thing that I have not seen from this Lady Vol club is a full game effort. You've always got either a stretch of one quarter or one quarter in itself that they are not at that full strength.
I would say you've seen it against Alabama this week, but that's about it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. If they don't sleepwalk the first quarter of this basketball game, Tennessee may win by 6, 7, 8 points. It's part of it though. That's basketball. It is what it is. But let's look at that final play, dude, because it's.
Well, before we look at it, let me just say one thing before we get to that final play. HYFT. Hit your free throws, and you're not in the position where this final play happens.
Yeah, but let's just talk about it. Let me show you. I'm going to pull this up on screen. This is from SEC Network, but everybody's seen it. Nobody wants to see it again, and that's fine. But I've seen some arguments here, and I'm going to get your take on it first. Was this just Tennessee taking their chances and they lost those? Or was this just pure laziness, lack of defense, and not that they threw the game, but they just didn't care that they shot the three?
Well,
because there's two different sides of this. And, I get protecting the paint. And I get, if you're going to leave one gal open, you leave it to the person that's really only attempted one three-pointer in her career, and she did not make it. And then she just happened to hit that one. So I wanted to know, what's your take on this?
So I'm not going to choose a side here. I'm just going to break down what I see from this play. First off, the ball went to exactly who you wanted it to go to. The 6'7" center who, as you mentioned, has never made a three in her career, has only attempted one. Gets it to her right here at the top of the key. Now, here's where the issue comes in. Even though she has never made one, you've got to have somebody out there not trying to block that shot, but put a hand in her face. Because as any basketball player knows, on defense, they tell you hand down, man down. There's not even a man or a woman on her right there. She is wide open. All she's got to do is catch, boom, and fires. And you see where the defense is. They're down there in the paint below the logo. That is a good 7-8 feet or more space between the players, or between the defense and the players shooting the ball. You've got to have somebody out there on her. But they did get it. The ball went to who Tennessee wanted it to. But here it comes. She takes the shot. Bang.
So here's my biggest problem with this. I'm going to have to restart it. Come on, restart. Nobody wants to watch this. Nobody wants to watch it. No. All right, so here's my biggest problem. This is my biggest problem. I get it. It went to the person you wanted to go to. But as soon as this pass was in the air, Rikia, this is all perspective. There's 1.1 second on the clock. Whoever's catching this ball is a catch and shoot. They are not passing the ball. Right? So the moment this ball is in the air, secondly, I'm not even sure what in the world Rikia is even defending right here. And I hate to say it like that. What is she defending?
Okay, all right, I can explain that. So you don't want anybody on the ball right here where she's throwing it in.
Okay, I get that. Then she needs to be...
What Rikia is doing is that Tennessee is preparing for a player to flash up high like they're doing. Now, that could be over here on this left wing. It could be top of the key. So that's what she is doing. Now, I get where you're going with this. Rikia needs to try to go over there.
Shoot straight to that ball. And everybody needs to, for that matter. She needs to get off her knees and run to the ball. They're not passing it. Whoever catches this ball is catching and shooting. It's all, you've got to know that. It's 1.1 second. So when she catches this ball, Rikia backpedals.
Yeah, she's going back to the girl right here, which she should not have done. But I'm not going to blame Rikia in all this.
I'm not blaming her. This is everybody. But I'm just saying, you've got to think, everybody should have crashed in on this gal as soon as she even caught the ball.
But what I'm getting at, play the video just a little bit more. Right here, Tamari Key, that's her girl. She's got to step up and be the one to follow her up. Once again, I'm not saying that you go up and you try to block this shot, risk getting a foul, anything like that. But you got to follow her up to the top of the key, get a hand up in her face. Make sure you don't foul so that it's at least contested, because if there's a contest on that, it could be a Tennessee victory, and we're watching the Lady Vols play LSU in the SEC Championship today.
Yeah, it's 1.1 second. I'm blaming all 5 ladies that didn't crash to the ball. Like, it's just me. That's how I'm viewing it. Like, you've.
But I've got a different argument that I want to bring in right here to you.
Okay.
Do you blame it on the players on the court, or do you also blame the coaching?
I blame all of it. But it is absolutely players on the court at the college level should have an IQ high enough to know if there's 1 second on the clock. You don't have to defend any of these players once this ball is inbounded.
Yep.
She can't pass. And I could be a snobby loser and be like, the clock didn't really start as soon as she caught the ball. But regardless, she had no time to throw this ball to anybody else and then shoot the ball. Right? Like, you knew whoever was catching this ball from the inbound was turning, shooting immediately. And all these ladies did was sit there and watch. That was the hardest thing. That was the hardest thing to comprehend. Like, that, I blame that on everybody. It's not fun to talk about, but I wanted to talk about it because it you sent me a message. I was having fun in Nashville last night. At first I was like, well, yeah, that sucks, but we wouldn't really expect it to win this game, and the Lady Vols did exactly what we wanted them to do. So, like, I kind of took it with a grain of salt. And then I watched that highlight about 5 times, and then 1,000 times. And then I'm like, what were we doing?
Yep.
Like, it almost just looked like we not gave up, but it was almost like, oh, okay, sure, take your shot. Why would you do that? Like, why? You worked all game to be in that position, and then when you got there, you literally let them take their chances. That just, to me, it frustrated me a lot. But anyways, like I said, I wasn't trying to point out just Rakia, but Rakia was the only person that was around the ball that wasn't necessarily on a defender, and to watch her literally backpedal a step or two after she caught the ball infuriated me. I'm like, what are you doing, Rakia? Like, just jump in the lane, like, do something, not backpedal. What are you defending? Like, just, yeah, it was almost like a view of give up. I mean, it kind of looked like that. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
But like I mentioned, the way that the defense started with Rakia playing back the way that she was, she's playing that perimeter right there, trying to keep them from getting that wide open pass.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, as soon as that pass is made, she's got to jump to that. Don't try to go for the steal, because that's just risking a foul. Go over, get in front of the defender, and just put a hand up. Put a hand in her face. Tamari Key, when your girl goes up to the top like that, follow her. I mean, if you leave somebody wide open, it's shooting practice. That's all it is. And anybody can make a shot like that if they're left open.
Yeah. The only thing that, I guess the second thing that kind of upset me a little bit was seeing, I mean, I get it. It's heartbreaking. You were close to the championship game. But if I'm Kelly Harper in that moment, I'm almost more mad than I am disappointed or heartbroken. You've got to, like, turn that into a coaching moment because you've got a bigger tournament to go play. Like, don't sit there and cry. I mean, it wasn't the championship game. I mean, it was to get to the championship, and I get it. That's important. But she, on the podium or in the post-game press conference, she was just, I'm heartbroken, crying, almost like her job depended on it. She was heartbroken, right? And I wish I would have heard her kind of suck it up after crying for a little bit and just say, hey, we need to do better at that or this, and I should have called timeout here or whatever, because she even admitted she didn't call a timeout because South Carolina didn't have one, which I guess I could understand that.
From a coaching perspective there, you don't want to give South Carolina a chance to draw up a play.
Right.
But at the same time, that's your chance to make sure your players know what they need to do. But you mentioned it as well. As college basketball players, they should have a high enough IQ to know what they need to do on defense in that situation.
Yeah, it sucks. It's heartbreaking. The Lady Vols, though, they showed me that they can hang with anybody in the country. If they can take South Carolina to the final second, they can take any team in the country. And I seriously mean that. They can take any team in the country to the final second.
So let's have the conversation for a minute. Going past the South Carolina game here, I'm going to actually take it off the screen so we don't have to look at it. The NCAA tournament coming up. We're going to find out later this evening where Tennessee is seated in the tournament. So, you and I talk on here quite a bit. We both listen to the Eric Ainge show on 99.1 in Knoxville. And I've only called in to the Eric Ainge show one time. But I decided to call in.
Question.
Yeah, I decided to call in this past week because I was curious. So Brian Rice, Eric Ainge's co-host, he is the play-by-play guy for Tennessee basketball, women's basketball, and softball. And I asked him, where do you have Tennessee in the tournament if they are in the tournament? Because some bracketology still has Tennessee kind of on the bubble. And he proceeded to say the person that does the women's bracketology, and I can't remember his name, he does not keep up with it the way like Joe Lunardi does on the men's side. He has Tennessee solidly at an 8 seed right now, but has also said that depending on how Tennessee performs in the SEC tournament, could move up to the 7 seed, possibly even the 6 seed. And I believe that the performance that Tennessee played with in this tournament by making it to the semis and taking South Carolina down to the final second, they've at least moved up 1 seed line, if not 2 seed lines, to that 6th spot. And Brian Rice said the exact same thing that we're sitting here saying right now. Tennessee can play with anybody in the country and beat anybody in the country. They've already proven that by the way they played South Carolina yesterday. But you've also got the Tennessee team that can lose to anybody in the country as well.
Yeah, and that's why I'm holding my head high on the fact that they're playing their best basketball now. The way they beat Kentucky, the way they beat Alabama, the way they played with everything against South Carolina. Now, the only thing I want to see is when we get in that big dance is don't let South Carolina beat you twice. Like, take care of business, get back to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. Let's have that discussion. If they're in the big dance, regardless of where they're seated, what gives Kelly Harper another year?
As a Tennessee fan and the history that the women have in the tournament, I think it's got to be Sweet 16 at least.
I don't even think that's enough. I think it's Elite Eight. I really do. I think it's Elite Eight for the women's because I'm seeing a lot in Knoxville. I'm seeing a lot of doubt or maybe just over it. I don't know what that feeling, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but just over it. Like they're just ready to move on. They just don't think that, Kelly Harper's not doing a terrible job, but it's just not the Tennessee standard, right? And when you're seeing a Dawn Staley do what she do at South Carolina, and that's what we were at Tennessee, I think that makes it just a little bit worse on Kelly Harper.
I'll agree with that, but we mentioned it. She's had multiple players each year that have gone down with an injury, and it's kind of hindered what the team can do. And it takes them quite a while to be able to get to that standard that they need to be playing at. And I think that Tennessee is there right now. They're playing the way that they need to be. But I'm also still on the train of these Tennessee fans that are kind of fed up with Kelly Harper. They are still riding the coattails of Pat Summitt.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but Pat Summitt is not walking through that door again. So here's the other question that we have mentioned with other coaches in the past. If you get rid of Kelly Harper, who are you bringing in that's going to be better than Kelly Harper right now?
I think there's a lot of women's coaches that want to coach at Tennessee. I don't know if that's a question. Tennessee is kind of like the Alabama of, Lady Vols basketball team. It's kind of like the Alabama of football, right? Where Bear Bryant was there, and then it was like, who would want to come to Alabama? Because, back in the 90s, Alabama was kind of going through in the early 2000s. They were kind of going through the dumps. They didn't know where they were going to turn, and then lo and behold, Nick Saban leaves LSU after winning a national championship and turn them back into what they were. So to say Pat Summitt's not walking through the doors, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. But I do think you could probably find a coach that could recruit a little better. I mean, what is Kelly Harper doing right now on the recruiting trail that has you excited about this team next year?
I'll be honest, I haven't kept up with any of it.
I haven't either, but if it was good, we would be seeing it. I mean, like, you know, if she's bringing in these high talented, you know, 4-star, 5-star athletes, you know, we would see it. Like, you know, you would have some momentum there, and excuse me, I just don't know if that's what's happening right now. I don't know. But I don't want her to get fired.
I don't either.
So you're hearing that from me right now. I don't want her to get fired, because then you kind of break up the Cinderella story of coaching staffs that we have right now, where they're all just getting along really well. The athletic program as a whole is probably the best it's ever been between all 5 major sports. And if you break that chain, I don't want to see a domino effect of that kind of poisoning what we have.
Yeah, and real quick, you know, before we move on to our next segment, you know, that's not just us as Tennessee fans saying that our athletic department is in a great spot, and this is, you know, the Tennessee athletics are at a really high level right now. I called in to Eric from the Ohio podcast the other night. They had their second call-in show, and, you know, Eric, if you are watching, shout out to you guys for having that call-in show up and going. You guys are doing a great job. I called in and, you know, just to talk a little bit about Ohio State with him, and he said, Michael, I just want to ask you about how the athletic department is doing down there, because, you know, you've got the men's team is top 5 in the nation, sitting at number 4. Your baseball team's in the top 10. Your softball's in the top 10. Your football was down a little bit from last year, but they still finished in the top 15 this year. He said, what's it like down there, man? And I said, dude, this is the best that Tennessee athletics has been in my entire life, and I am loving it right now.
Yeah, it makes our job a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
But no, it really has been. And, I mean, yeah, we are saying that as fans, but, it's facts. Every team that we have right now in the 5 major sports, they're all ranked. They're all ranked. And I think –
well, Lady Vols are just out.
Yeah, that's right. My fault. That's on me. And the Lady Vols have had a tough stretch, and they've not really beaten ranked opponents, but it's because the ranked opponents are playing, 3 of which are the number 1 team in the country, and then you got LSU. It's not far behind that. You know, so they've taken some tough L's, and they've had a hard season, but I don't want to really make excuses for them. I think they can play some of their best ball here coming up in March, and we'll get to talking about that. When does their tournament begin? I know the seeding's not done yet, but
I think the tournament begins this week, if I'm not mistaken.
I would think so, like a Wednesday or Thursday, but I'd like to kind of see when the bracket comes out.
Yeah, but bracketology the bracket comes out this evening. I believe it's at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, I believe.
I fully expect the first game to be either Thursday or Friday or something like that. So, and that'll be exciting. So especially considering even ladies basketball, there's going to be 4 or 5 teams in the SEC in the women's tournament. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, are there 64 teams in the women's bracket? I don't think there is.
It's either, I know for sure it's 64. I don't know if it's 65 with 1 play-in game or if it's 68 like the men's.
Okay, with a couple of play-in games.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the bracket real quick.
Well, then why was I worried that the Lady Vols weren't going to be in it?
Well, just because some of the bracketology has been it's been saying that Tennessee is out.
Okay. I'm just hearing if they're going to be as high as a 7 seed, probably. I don't think they're going to be a 6 seed. To me, there's 16 seeds to a region. So, I mean, I just felt like, I thought, they were making me think that there was only like 9 seeds in the tournament because I've never heard anybody say that they were going to be a 10 seed. So,
okay, actually, I am wrong. They are doing men's and women's next Sunday instead of women's today.
I thought the women's were a week ahead. Dang, okay.
Yeah. So the tournament dates for the women's is March the 21st through April the 7th. So it's going on the same time as the men's is going on. They just play on. So I think the way it works is the men start on Thursday, the actual first round. You'll have the playing games early in the week.
Right.
So you got the men start on Thursday. They play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The women start on Saturday, I believe, either Friday or Saturday, and then play the next 4 days.
Heck yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it for the Lady Vols segment.
We'll hop right into segment 2 here. And Skylar, you want to tell us about our segment 2 sponsor?
I do. Our segment 2 sponsor is P&L Business Services. They are a full-service bookkeeping, payroll, tax, and consulting firm for a small to mid-sized business where it's your numbers, our passion, and we empower you to grow your business. We know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Visit pnlbusinessservices.com to get them hooked up, get you guys hooked up for some bookkeeping. They kind of, like I said, they do it all. Payroll, bookkeeping, taxes. It's that season. I think they're trying to wrap up, but no, P&L Business Services, thank you. Let's get to talking about the men's basketball team.
So the men's, they did exactly what we wanted them to, what they needed to do, and that is knock off South Carolina to become the SEC regular season champs this year.
Right. That's right. No, it's a big feat. Big feat. They had to go through some type of gauntlet to get that, but they absolutely did exactly what they needed to do. And I was sitting here 2 weeks ago thinking, like, man, we could go 2-2 in the Final Four. We could go 1-3 in the Final Four game. Like, there's no way we're going 4-0 in the Final Four games, and yet Tennessee really dang sure tried. And it started with a big win versus South Carolina to actually get the SEC championship, which kind of took a lot of the pressure off the game against Kentucky. Not that it didn't mean anything. It still hurt that we lost to them, but getting this one definitely meant more for the team, for the season, as we get to hang another banner in the rafters.
Yeah. So do you know the last time that Tennessee was the outright conference champion for the regular season?
If I'm a good fan and my memory serves me well, that was 2008.
That was 2008 with Chris Lofton, Wayne Chisholm, and crew. That was under Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, we love Bruce.
Yeah, that was a fun season there. Just a little bit off topic. Do you remember the Tennessee-Memphis game? The 1 versus 2?
Shot. Bro, I was 7 years old. I don't remember that.
I do remember that. I remember.
Congratulations.
I was actually in Gatlinburg with a church group. We had the game on the big screen in the cabin there watching it. So I do remember that game, and it was fantastic. Without a doubt, the biggest game at the time in Tennessee basketball history.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Looking forward to this game here. Dalton Connect just doing Dalton Connect things. 26 points, 3 rebounds in the game. Jonas Adu chipped in 14 points and 9 rebounds. Zakai Ziegler also had double figures. He had 13 with 7 assists and 5 rebounds. Didn't get a whole lot from anybody else, but they played their role in this game as well. But Jemiah Mashak's minutes have been picking up in the second or in the last part of this season, man.
Yeah, I mean, but this game, we got the win. That's all that matters. This was honestly a very frustrating game to watch. I remember watching it, miss after miss. Very physical game. Refs were not really calling anything on either side. Free throws, you can see it was 10-22, but I think at the end, South Carolina got a lot of like they had to foul us, so that they kind of ran the number up a little bit. But over the course of the game, I mean, maybe 10 to 15 fouls called total. I mean, it was really frustrating.
South Carolina had 17 total fouls called on them. Tennessee only had 13 called on them. So, I mean, the refs let them play.
Yeah, they did. And I got a little frustrated with the guys because they were, throwing the hands up, like, what the heck? I hate to see that. Like, play the game. If they're not calling it, be the aggressor, And we kind of started doing that toward the end of the game, and I love to see it. But it kind of felt like that whole first half, first three quarters, first half and then half of the second half. It kind of felt like we wasn't necessarily doing that. But no, not really any, mind-blowing performances in this game. I mean, we had a poor shooting night, but it was really a gutsy, gritty win. Yes, I said the gritty. But big win. Again, there was a lot of pressure on this game. It was the second game on the road, second ranked opponent on the road consecutively, and we got the win to secure the SEC championship. That's all you can ask for.
One thing or two things that I will say in this game that kind of surprised me, and one of them was in a good way. So the first surprise is South Carolina actually had more points in the paint in this game. They had 30 compared to Tennessee's 18. And, when you just read that stat out alone, you're like, boy, I don't want to see the rest of these stats because it could be bad. This probably means that Tennessee loses in the game. And credit to Tennessee for knocking down free throws, which leads me into the good surprises. Tennessee only missed 3 free throws in this game, and we have not been able to say that very much this year as they struggled at times. And we'll get to a game where they struggled again from the line in yesterday's game. But
let's talk about this because you mentioned they got outscored in the paint.
Yep.
South Carolina had one more 3-pointer than they did, and you're like, well, how did we not lose this game? And that is seriously because we made 19 free throws to South Carolina's 5. And, I mean, to your point, that is the difference in the game. The rebounds you can see in the bottom right, I mean, it's 38-40, pretty much squared even. And then assists, 14-11, not enough to really change the outcome of a game. But really, this game was won in the free throws. In a game which fouls weren't getting called a lot. So,
I will say this as well that was kind of surprising was, as many points as South Carolina had in the paint, 30 of their 59 were in the paint. How did South Carolina not get to the free throw line more? I mean, they only attempted 10 free throws and made 5 of them. How did they not get to the line more if they're getting that many points in the paint?
One, it's the lack of call. I mean, the fouls that were called on Tennessee, the reason why there's a big differential there is because in the final minute or so of the game, we were getting fouled left and right. But it's just a lack of call. I mean, I'm sure, one, we were probably fouling and it wasn't getting called, but that happens all the time. And then secondly, we had several blocks in this game. If my memory serves me correct, I don't have the box score in front of my monitor, but
it was 4 apiece.
4. Okay, it felt like a lot more, but no. I mean, it was just an aggressive game. I mean, it was hard to get in the paint. I think South Carolina were forcing the 3 early in the game, and then kind of got away from that. But I think I remember South Carolina was just jacking up 3s to start the game, and they were missing a lot, obviously. But no, I don't know. To your point, I really don't. But I credit our defense for stepping up and forcing them to get their points in the paint, and by not committing fouls and giving away easy free points.
So let me ask you a question about South Carolina for a minute. Do you think that Lamont Parrish, do you think that he should be the SEC Coach of the Year for the job that he has done? Because South Carolina preseason was picked to finish last in the conference, dead last. And they ended up finishing in a 4-way tie for second place in the conference. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean,
it's either him or Rick Barnes, correct?
I would say yeah. I think it would go to South Carolina though. Because Rick Barnes kind of had a team coming into the season. I think we were picked to win. If not, we were pretty close to pick to win, behind maybe Auburn or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, but just the overall season South Carolina's had, man. I mean, they're 25-6 overall. They still got the best record overall out of any team in the SEC. And that is crazy that the SEC 1 through 5 is one game away. That is wild. What a season for the SEC, right? And to see Tennessee come out on top in what is probably the most competitive league I've ever seen in the SEC ever in my life. That I think speaks more volumes than the fact that we had to play. Let's see here. We had to play Alabama twice, Kentucky twice. We had to play South Carolina twice. That's 3 of the top 5 teams, right? I know we played Auburn.
You played Auburn once.
Yep. We played A&M twice, I believe.
Played Florida once.
Yep. I mean, so you know, it's not like we got that easy schedule. We got to dodge some of the better teams. We had to play the toughest opponents multiple times, and we still found a way to have the best record overall at the end.
And I actually saw this morning that if Tennessee was to face off against Mississippi State in the tournament, in the SEC tournament, and beats them, Tennessee will have beat every single team in the conference this year at least once.
God, I'd love to do that.
Yeah. So
I'd love to do it.
Do you have any more thoughts on this game?
Man.
Right
I
here?
don't. This just set us up for a Kentucky match that it was all about the bragging rights. You know, there was nothing really else on the line. I was shooting it up with Jay Hayes, who we had on the podcast all week, really. He was saying that they're a better team, and I was just saying, dude, we won the SEC. And then he was like, oh, you're just bragging that y'all won. I'm like, no, dude, I'm not putting feelings into it. Like, I'm just saying we won the SEC. I feel like that means we're the better team. And but either way, we were going back and forth, and at the end, Kentucky did get the win, a big win. But I don't think this outcome right here alone means that Kentucky's a better team than Tennessee. I think this is solely that Tennessee has been on a 7-game winning streak. They just played 3 of the toughest opponents that they'll ever face in this entire season, or 4 actually, and they just came up a little bit short against Kentucky. They caught Kentucky. It's a big scoring offensive team. We all knew that. They have a 3-headed monster in Reeves, Shepard, and Dillingham, and we just, like I said, couldn't get it done. But I don't think this changes my mindset on our boys. Like, I think we can literally go as far as we want to go in this tournament.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, as soon as the night was over with last night, there was a thing that came across my ESPN that said, Tennessee and Kansas both have questions. Tennessee doesn't have any questions in my mind. Now, Kansas, on the other hand, we won't get into that because we're a Tennessee podcast, but Kansas got some questions. But, Tennessee in this game only got beat by like 25 or 30 by Houston last night. Like it was like
Arizona,
it was like
and Kansas
46.
That's crazy. Okay, nice.
Arizona got beat by USC.
So Tennessee locked up a number 1, right?
Not necessarily, because you got North Carolina that's playing hot, and they also
North Carolina ain't going to get it. And North Carolina ain't getting it over Tennessee. Look at the daggum record or strength of schedule. Come on now. No,
you also got North Carolina, who is a blue blood. So
whatever, dude. No, Tennessee had a terrible night shooting, right? But still found a way to keep this game close. And I'm not going to say this is one of Kentucky's best shooting performances, because it's not. They had one of their best against Alabama, where they were shooting 70% from the field. But they still shot 52% from the three-point line. That's insane. And so they did have a great game. They got some second chance points, and I didn't get to catch this game all the way through, but I've seen some highlights. But man,
I watched this game start to finish.
Yeah, and I just, whatever you thoughts are, but I don't think this proves anything to me, one team over the other, like some of my Kentucky friends were trying to say.
Yeah, I don't think this proves anything one team over the other. If anything, if we're going to go that route, okay, Kentucky just beat Tennessee in Thompson Bowling Arena. Well, Tennessee went up to Kentucky and beat Rupp by beat Kentucky in Rupp by double digits. So
with a hurt team is the excuse.
Yeah, if that says anything, then Tennessee would be the better. But I don't think that says anything about it. Tennessee, they struggled as a team. Dalton Connect went for 40. So, I mean, that was huge. But the rest of the Tennessee team struggled. And the fact that you still only got beat by 4 against Kentucky when you have guys perform the way that they did yesterday, I think that says a lot about this Tennessee team. And when you run into a red-hot Reed Shepherd, who, by the way, if Reed Shepherd does not win National Freshman of the Year, then something is rigged because all dude does is score. He is over 50% on the season from the three-point line. And he was 7 of 10 yesterday in the game from the three-point line. I mean, that is just absolutely insane, just red hot. Him and Antonio Reeves both had 27 apiece in the game. Justin Edwards was huge yesterday. He was 4 of 7 from the three-point line with 16 points. And then you had Rob Dillingham with 11. And only one other person on Kentucky's team scored, and that was DJ Wagner with 4.
And yeah, I mean, like they had 2 starters post up some goose eggs. And I guess that goes to my point, because the Kentucky fan I was going back and forth with was saying that they're a better team. How are you going to say that when 2 of your starters don't even score, my guy? Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. I mean, and it's not like they didn't play. I mean, one had 29 minutes in the game and didn't get a single basket. So I don't know, man. I took this with a grain of salt, really. And I don't want to say this and then get taken or clipped out of context, but were you not okay taking an L here? Like, hey, we're riding a 7-game winning streak, and I love that, right? But let's get the loss out of the way. Let's get our minds reset so that when we go into postseason play, we're ready to go. Like, right? Or would you rather just keep freaking winning? Because I felt like in basketball, it's almost unrealistic to have some of these long freaking winning streaks. And I personally was okay getting a tough loss here to hopefully reset us and not necessarily humble us, but get us ready for the postseason.
So the way I've always looked at it is kind of like the way that you just said, obviously you want to win every game.
Yeah.
But, when there's an opportunity when there's a spot where you can lose one and it not hurt you, I'm okay with the loss here. And this is exactly what this game was. This was a game that it wasn't going to hurt you because you already locked up the SEC title on Wednesday night. There was nothing else that was going to help you in this game other than, getting a win and you basically lock up a 1 seed. But I still think Tennessee has done a really good job at locking up, or at least giving themselves a chance to lock up the 1 seed. But, this is a game that you mentioned it. You're on a 7-game win streak. You just gone through the toughest gauntlet really in Tennessee basketball history of that 4-game stretch. And yes, you dropped this one, but you're about to go into conference tournament play where, what?
Show that bracket. Let's go. Come on. Because I know we're number 1. Kentucky's number 2 because they got the tiebreakers over all the other 3 teams with the same record. But, I mean, I think you could seriously be looking at the SEC championship matchup right here.
Sorry, I thought I had it pulled up.
No, you're good.
There we go.
There it is. That's the official bracket right there. Yeah, so Kentucky's at number 2. So the only way we're seeing them again is in the championship game.
But I will say this, and this is just me personally. I think I would rather see Kentucky a 3rd time than end up seeing Auburn for a 2nd time in the semifinals.
But we're going to have – whoa. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you'd rather like a team like South Carolina beat Auburn or, heaven forbid, Arkansas makes a run. But
I would have rather had, Auburn the 2 seed, Kentucky the 4 seed, and face Kentucky in the semifinals than facing Auburn in the semifinals. Because
I'm fine with it. Auburn is that's going to be a low scoring, very physical game, and Auburn, I think he's got the better of us one of the 2 times, but I think we'll be fine. I'm not really worried about it. I think we just need to go game by game, one at a time, and let's see what it leads to. But I think the most anticipated matchup of this tournament is going to be Kentucky versus Alabama if they both can make it to the semifinals. Those two teams, I think the last time they met was like 117 to 90 something. Like just an absolute offensive, like, I mean, I don't even know what to call it. Just show.
It was only offense. I mean, there was no defense.
No, I mean it was literally an NBA game, and so I think it would be kind of fun to watch those two teams kind of go back at it. Hopefully, show up for a little bit of defense, but no, Tennessee just needs to do what they need to do. And
I will say, and you might have a different thought on this, but you know what? If Tennessee doesn't win the conference tournament, in my opinion, that's not the end of the world either.
I don't care. Winning the tournament is literally that's the second tier of winning the SEC regular season. Winning the regular season is way harder than winning the tournament.
Yes,
it always has been, and it always will be. So Tennessee got the big trophy, and I don't know. I call it the big trophy, but no, winning the SEC tournament, and I don't even think it's going to affect them seeding wise. I think they are a number one seed if they make it to the semifinals or the championship game. They just can't go one and done. They can't lose. They can't lose to LSU, Mississippi State.
If you lose to either Mississippi State or LSU, then yes, you will drop to a 2 seed. But if you make the semifinals and lose to Auburn, South Carolina, whichever one, I think that Tennessee is pretty solidly a 1 seed. And the reason I say that I don't care if Tennessee wins the conference tournament, if they lose a game, that's the last game you can lose this year. And I would rather it be here than when you get into the big tournament. The big dance is where you've got to win.
It's about giving a little to gain a lot, right? Like I'd rather give this away to somebody else and have them feeling good and sunshine and rainbowy when they go into the big dance, whatever. That's kind of like the way I am with Kentucky. Like, let the Kentucky fans have their fun right now. Like, they think they're on top of the world. They think they're better. That's fine. We got the ring. Like, I mean, that's just the way I think. I mean, so no, I'm 100% agreeing with you. I'd like to win. All right, I don't want to sound like a winner or a loser. I don't want to go in there and just freaking give it away. No, not at all. But like you said, it's not the worst thing in the world. If we lose, that's fine. Reset. Let's get ready for the big dance.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I'm trying to pull up the standings real quick because it ended up really crazy how the last little bit happened.
Standings in the SEC?
Yeah, standings in the SEC. So let me.
You just had it in the bracket.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the record as well.
Oh, I got you. What are you looking for? Because
I got it right here.
See, Tennessee finished 14-4. Yeah, there you go.
Tennessee finished 14-4 in the conference. Then I mentioned a 4-way tie for second place right here. We knew that there was going to be some sort of tiebreaker come the end of the season, and it was South Carolina, Auburn, Kentucky, and Alabama all in a 4-way tie for second place.
Kentucky got the tiebreaker, so they should technically be up there where South Carolina's at.
But right there, it's only got South Carolina up there just because of the overall record.
Yep.
But yeah, Kentucky was actually second, Alabama third, Auburn was fourth, South Carolina fifth. Then you got Florida.
I told you they could make the dance, dude. I told you.
Oh, I had no doubt that Florida would be in the dance.
Oh, okay, I said A&M as well.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence with A&M, but they are on a 3-game winning streak right now, as you see over here, and that put them in a tie with LSU, in which Texas A&M had the head-to-head. So A&M was a 7 seed, LSU the 8. And how about Mississippi State dropping from 7th just a couple of weeks ago?
I seriously think Mississippi State played themselves out of the tournament.
They could have, because they're on a 4-game losing streak.
4-game losing streak.
If they go on a run here in the tournament, then it's possible. I think right now you've got Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss all sitting squarely on the bubble. I'm kind of out on LSU. You look at this overall record, 17-14. Yes, you're 9-9 in the conference, but I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, I think you're still telling me there's a strong possibility of 9 out of this conference going in.
It's possible. I don't think it's probable, but I think it's possible.
I don't see why not, man. I mean, you obviously Missouri, they win the absolute most disappointing award with a losing streak of 18, right? And basketball, that's hard to do. You almost have to try to do that. 0-18 officially, which is even harder to do. Like I don't understand how you go winless in a sport like basketball or baseball. Like there's so many games. How do you lose every single one of them? That makes no sense.
I will say I saw the Barstool Vandy account. Shout out the Barstool Missouri account. Was like, man, thanks for joining us in the 0-18 club because it was getting kind of lonely down here. So that's pretty funny. But
what sucks for Missouri is I feel like they could literally go into March Madness and make the round of 32. Like, I feel like they could play with anybody, but they just don't know how to win. Like,
they have played so many close games this year. And, honestly, I would not be surprised if they pick up their first conference win in the play-in game against Georgia.
I don't even know how they get a play-in game. They shouldn't even be able to. I don't know. That's just me. But no, I'm very confident in 7 and maybe even 8 teams in the dance for the SEC, depending on how this tournament goes. I don't see how you get any less than 7, in my opinion.
I'll say this: sitting here right now, 6 is a lock in the tournament. You've got the
7 is.
It could be. You could be right, but 6 is definitely a lock. You've got your top 5 who are all within a game of each other right now. Tennessee was in first, and then the 4-way tie for second.
Yeah, and then Florida's got to be in.
Florida is in, and Florida could make a run. Just the way that they're playing right now.
They've got the same record as Alabama, but it's just not in the SEC. I mean, But I think, seriously, so that's 6, right? That's your 6 that you're saying is locked.
That's the 6 that are locked.
But then you've got a 20-11 Ole Miss team that's 7-11 in the SEC, right? So that's kind of like, maybe. You've got a 19-12 Mississippi State team that's on a 4-game losing streak. That's 8-10 in the SEC. You've got 2 teams that are 9-9 in LSU and A&M. I think A&M's played their way in. I think that is the 7th lock. I really do. And then LSU's got some big wins, though. I'm telling you, man, I think 7 is a lock. And 8 and 9 at that point is just kind of wishing, but I think it's very possible. It's crazy how the SEC is so top-heavy, but yet still have some really good teams in the middle that still found a way to have some sort of a good record with how top-heavy this league was.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So do you have anything else on men's basketball before we move forward to some of our spring sports?
No, I want to talk about some softball, dude.
All right, let's do it. Before we get into that, let me tell you about our third segment sponsor, Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate, KaizenPainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. And Kaizen Painting, we appreciate you for being our third segment sponsor. And without further ado, let's get into some Tennessee softball.
Yeah, Laura Mueller, have yourself a week, young lady, at an MTSU transfer, and you might know her personally. She went to Forest High School.
I don't know her personally, but I have seen her play at the high school level, and she's a good player.
So I played with a few folks. Yeah, I played with a few folks, Dustin Brashear, in like Little League play, and then I played with Dylan Eady, who played at Forest High School, and post-19 play. And I think they played right along, with her during her high school years. So it's kind of cool, small world, seeing her grow up. She transferred to Tennessee, and now she's lighting it up, and could be more proud for her. We actually had a couple of Vols have 3 home run days, so a lot of history is being made. Spring sports full swing, and Lady Vols actually pick up. I wrote their 9th shutout victory this season in 4 of the last 5 games. I'm telling you, man, this Lady Vols team is clicking, and this one right here was a little bit close, but they pulled it out. And kind of want to get your thoughts of the Lady Vols program and where Karen Weekly has this team rolling.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of run through these games real quick. Won't spend a whole lot of time just talking about the games in general, but this game was before we went on last Sunday. Game against Stetson in the Tennessee Classic. They get the 3-2 victory as Carlin Pickens picks up her 6th win of the season. Kiki Malloy was 1 for 1 in the game. She was walked at some point. Riley West 1 for 2. Let's see. Destiny Rodriguez was 1 for 3 with a long bomb in the game. You had Sophia Nugent was 1 for 3, and then Alana Leach was pinch hitting in the game and went 1 for 1 in the game. So that was a big win in this game. Charlie Orsini started the game, and Carlin Pickens came in to close out the game, and that's how she got the win. Then game 2 of the day, the Lady Vols play against Longwood and gets the run rule victory 12-1 over the Longwood Lancers. Peyton Gottschall, the complete game, 5 inning, gave up 1 run, had 8 strikeouts in the game. Kiki Malloy there, you see, was the big hitter. She had 2 home runs in the game. Both of them were solo shots. She was 2 for 3. You had Jackie Kirkpatrick was a pinch hitter in the game. She went 1 for 1. Riley West also had a big stick. She was 1 for 3 with 4 RBIs in the game. I believe that was a grand slam for Riley in that one. McKenna Gibson was 1 for 1 in the game. You also had Amanda Allen, I believe is how you say her name, 1 for 1. Taylor Pinnell was 2 for 3 in the game. And Julia Katsuyanopoulos, I think I said that right that time, was 1 for 2. I'm going to learn that name.
Try to say it one more time.
Katsuyanopoulos.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to learn it by the time this season is over.
Can you spell it?
I can spell it because I'm looking at it.
Right, that's not good. All right.
I can't just spell it outright, but another big win for Tennessee in this one. And then in a weather delayed game, they turned around the next day and played Longwood again. Get one of those shutout victories that you were talking about, 7-0, as Carlin Pickens went all 7 innings in the game. She also had 13 strikeouts in this game, which was unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's something else. She's unbelievable on the mound. Kiki Malloy was 2 for 4 in the game. Riley West also 2 for 4. Both of them had home runs. McKenna Gibson 1 for 3. Zeta Pooney was 2 for 3 with a long bomb. This is where the Laura Mueller show started this week, as she was 2 for 2 in the game. She hit her first career home run with Tennessee in this game. And you're going to be hearing a lot more about Laura Mueller as we go through some of these games.
Did you see the post on the Tennessee softball athletics page? And it had her kind of doing the strut through the dugout, and it was a picture of her. It said first time mommy. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah,
because Tennessee does the daddy hats. Well, the Lady Vols, they have the mommy hats.
That's right. So it was first time mommy, and then it was like the very next day, it was like a 3. I mean, it just the way it just, man, I think she had a 5 home run week. I mean, she just lighting it up. And, this was a big game. All right, so the Lady Vols welcomed in Clemson. Or actually, I think
they traveled to Clemson.
Yeah, they went to Clemson. And I think it was a top 10 matchup, if I'm remembering correctly. Or maybe
I think you're right.
It might have been top 25 matchup. I can't remember.
It was at least top 15.
Yeah, but this is one of those I was waiting to kind of see when we were going to have one of those low-scoring dogfight games again like we had at the very beginning of the year. I don't really count Stetson, respectfully. But this one right here was a really good win. We made it hard on ourselves. We had an error. We didn't hit, as well as we wanted to, but we got the timely hits, and Kiki Malloy came through with a big day, getting 2 of our team's total 5 hits. So, big win right here. I don't have the box score pulled up, but you can read it all. But Carlin Pickens picks up another win. She is, I'm telling you, man, she's a different breed.
Yeah, Peyton Gottschall started the game, and she wasn't playing bad. They just decided to swap over and go to Carlin Pickens, and she ended up picking up the win, shutting out Clemson when she came in. Kiki Malloy was 2 for 4 on the day. Riley West 1 for 3. Sophia Nugent was 1 for 4. I believe was it Kiki or was it Sophia that got the big hit in extra innings that put Tennessee ahead?
Oh, you're asking.
I kind of think
I do know this. I do know this. Hang on one second. Give me like 3 seconds. 4.
All right,
5.
I'll finish.
Sophia Nugent hit the double to center field in the 9th, and Riley West scored on that.
Gotcha.
So
yeah,
that was
Nugent with the big bat.
That was the go-ahead run that sealed the deal, and no, it was a big win for Tennessee.
And then Julia Kasuyanopoulos was 1 for 3 in the game as well. So and it was a top 10 matchup. I've got it here. Tennessee was ranked number 8. Clemson was ranked number 10. So
yeah, that's what I thought.
10 matchup.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just couldn't remember wholeheartedly. So, but then that's when Tennessee kind of rose on a tear right here. Lady Vols get the next 3 games against Missouri State, South Dakota, and then we'll talk about Ohio State here in a little bit. But just back-to-back shutout wins. Tennessee beat the crap out of Missouri State. Yeah, this is where just Laura Mueller have a day. I mean, good night. This was the day after, I think, or no, it was a little bit later in the week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this was on Friday.
But she went from first-time homer at Tennessee to hitting 3 bombs in this game. And I think everybody knows her name now after a 3 for 3. After a 3 for 3 performance, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. Just overall just destroyed. I mean, yeah, just that team was calling her mommy at the end of the day, I'm sure, 100%.
Yeah, there was a lot of hits in this game too.
Yeah, a lot of hits. A lot. I mean, 14. We almost had more hits than runs. We had more runs. It was insane. Big win here, but I think honestly this was just kind of a game to kind of build our confidence as we are about to really get going with a tough stretch. But this was a game that was fun for the fans to come out to. It's been hard for the Lady Vols to catch a rhythm because of the weather. You know, it's not like baseball. If it's sprinkling, a light rain, baseball can still play. They're on a turf field. Softball, once so much rain, and even if it's a light rain, once it's so much accumulation, they're on dirt. It turns into mud. You can't do anything about it. And so they've had to kind of work the schedule a little bit, and they're having to play a lot of games on Mondays to kind of make up for it. Mm-hmm. But it's not affecting the offense, I don't think. They're still hitting bombs.
Yeah, and then the defense is doing their work too, especially
exactly.
The pitchers. Peyton Gottschall with a 2-hit shutout. This was shutout number 2 of the week for the Lady Vols. As going down the box score here, Kiki Malloy was 3 for 4 on the day. Alana Leach was 1 for 3. McKenna Gibson, Boo Gibson was 3 for 3. Let's see. Then you had pinch hitter. Zeta Pooney was 1 for 3 as she hit a home run on the day as well. Gabby Leach was 1 for 1. Then you had Laura Mueller 3 for 3 with 3 home runs, 2 solos. And that 3-run home run was a no-doubter in that one. Taylor Pinnell was 1 for 2. Julia Kasuyanopoulos was 1 for 2. I'm telling you, I'm going to get that name right. So
you're saying it a lot more rhythm. Like, you're saying it a lot better now. Notice how I've not even tried it.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Yeah. So that was the box score for that game. And then you turn around and throw another shutout game in the South Dakota game to follow. As I'll pull that up.
I've got it actually already. Kiki Malloy again had a 2 for 4 day, including a double and RBI. She even scored as well. You had McKenna Gibson go 1 for 3 with an RBI. Zeta Pooney go 2 for 2 with a home run. So Zeta Pooney is catching fire at the right time. Laura Mueller goes 1 for 3 with 2 RBI and another home run. I'm telling you, Laura Mueller, she's hot. All right.
Yeah.
And then Katsunopoulos. There's my first attempt at it.
Hey, that wasn't bad. That was better than my first attempt.
I appreciate that. She went 1 for 1, and I believe she got walked twice. That's what it was. So big win for Carlin Pickens, her 9th, and once again another shutout. The Lady Vols making it look
10K day.
They're making it look easy, but I don't want to say that too loudly.
Yeah.
Because they're about to start facing some stiff competition, including this next game. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. Ohio State. Now, they took care of business against Ohio State with another shutout victory, but Ohio State's no pushover, and I think they're going to be a big team late in the season as I believe they were like 10-4 at the time. I mean, they definitely had a good season going, but Lady Vols kind of put a stop to it and got a big win.
Yeah, I apologize. I fell down on the job and forgot to post the graphic, but I've got it right here.
Unbelievable. No, I'm joking.
I've got it right here that I can pull up real quick. I didn't upload it to the stream here, but there we go. It's pulled up now.
There it is. Attaboy.
5-0 victory. That was, what'd you say, number 5 shutout on the week or number 4?
4 of the last 5, but it could have been 5 on the week, to be honest with you. I was looking at, let's see, their other shutout was again. It's Saturday at Stetson. So between Saturday, March the 2nd, and Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so within an 8-day span, Saturday to Saturday, they had 5 shutouts. That's insane.
That's crazy right there.
That is crazy.
5-0 victory in this game. Peyton Gottschall gets the win in a 3-hit shutout. Kiki Malloy was 2 for 4, and this is before I get into the rest of it. This game was actually pushed back multiple times. As the game was supposed to start yesterday at like 11:30 Central Time, 12:30 Eastern, and the game didn't get started till I think 8 Eastern or 9 Eastern last night, something like that. So I mean, it just kept getting pushed back because of the rain, but they did end up getting this game in. Kiki Malloy 2 for 4. McKenna Gibson was 2 for 3. Zeta Pooney 1 for 2. Taylor Pinnell 1 for 3, and she had a big home run in this game, a 2-run shot. Let's see, I think that actually rounded out the hitting in that game. Or sorry, that was a triple, not a home run from Taylor Pinnell. It was a 2-run triple in the game. There was no home runs hit in this game, but Peyton Gottschall and Carlin Pickens both sitting at 7 wins and 9 wins respectively on the season. So they're having a big start to the season here. And they are playing Ohio State again right now.
3-game series. They play the first one right now, I believe. They're probably wrapping it up. It was at 1:30 was the start time, so it's pretty close probably to the end. I don't know what the score is currently. But then they play again tonight at 7:45 Eastern. Do you have it pulled up?
I don't have the softball pulled up, but Tennessee baseball just hit a grand slam to blow the game open. So,
well, that's good because they were losing 3-0 earlier. So,
yeah, it is now 8-3. But sorry, I know we're still talking about softball, but
well, I mean that's fine. We could just talk about baseball if you want. No, I'm just...
Well, softball, they've got, like I said, the game against Ohio State today. They play against Howard tomorrow before they start SEC play this weekend in their first series against Missouri. That series is in Knoxville.
Yeah, and they have, look, SEC's good in softball, but, baseball I think is a little bit tougher. I mentioned to you earlier that Tennessee, as of right now, Tennessee doesn't have a non-ranked SEC matchup. Every series Tennessee baseball is about to be playing is ranked. I don't think softball is that tough. 7-0 Tennessee for the softball team. Thank you, Miss Karen. She commented on the YouTube. We appreciate you helping us out right there. But no, so Tennessee looks to be locking up the series then, and we'll go for the sweep tonight.
Yep, absolutely. So you have anything else on Tennessee softball before we get into the baseball team?
No, it's hard to critique a team that's winning. I mean, it's just a lot of fun talk. I mean, just shutout over. I mean, I'd love to see the run differential in these Lady Vols because I was going through the scores, man. Our team doesn't give up more than 2 or 3 runs a game, except for one outlier game. It was against, who was it against?
UCLA.
No, it was against
it was Cal State Fullerton. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they give up 11 against them, but dude, I swear, every other opponent, we haven't given up more than 2.
Well, UCLA, they gave up 6.
Yep, we gave up 6. I skipped over that one. Okay, so literally, aside from 2 games, we have not given up more than 2 runs. That's insane. That's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'd love to see the run differential. That might be something we do for next week, kind of look up what that run differential is, but it's got to be one of the best in the nation.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving ahead to baseball, we'll start off with another run rule victory for the Vols, as this was Sunday while we were live. Tennessee brought out the brooms, got the sweep against Bowling Green, and this one 16-6. As this right here was the start of Dylan Dreiling just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. As he had a home run in this game. Kirby Cannell got the win in this one. He only pitched 1 inning, but it was a big inning that he got in. He struck out 2 batters. It was at a time in the game where the game was a little bit in balance. The starting pitching had kind of struggled a little bit, but he settled them down as Christian Moore was 1 for 3 on the day. Blake Burke 1 for 4. Robin Villeneuve came in and pinch hitting late in the game, got a hit. He was 1 for 1. Billy Amick was 1 for 4. Cal Stark came in to pinch hit and was 1 for 1 in the game. Various Tears 1 for 2 as he was walked twice in the game. Cannon Peebles was 3 for 3. Dylan Dreiling 2 for 4. Dalton Bargo 3 for 5. Ethan Payne 2 for 2. Colby Backus 1 for 1 as the hits just kept coming, 17 of them. Dylan Dreiling with the lone home run in the game, but Blake Burke, Cannon Peebles, Dylan Dreiling, Dalton Bargo, and Colby Backus all with doubles in the game. So bats are hot.
Yep, bats are hot. That's what we like to see. It's definitely expected, though. You don't want to give up that many runs, but then again, when you're scoring a lot more, it is what it is. No, you mentioned Dylan Dreiling, man. I kind of want to talk about Cannon Peebles having a day.
Yeah.
3 for 3 at the plate. I mean, it's about as good as you can do. So no, big win for Tennessee there. Before they're on a streak right now. Kansas State I thought was going to be a big game, and they made it look like another preseason. I mean, walk in the park. I mean, it was a really good game for Tennessee. Just a lot of hits, making a little bit of errors, but that's okay. Tony Vitello is really changing up this lineup all the time. Just kind of getting a good feel for all the players that he has, who he can use, and that's going to play dividends toward tournament ball because, what I like to see is we have multiple catchers doing great at the plate.
Yeah.
Throwing batters out with Cal Stark, Cannon Peebles. There's another one not coming up yet. Charlie Taylor. Thank you. But they're doing pretty dang good behind the plate because once it gets to be 90 degrees and you're playing some double headers and stuff like that, you can't ask a catcher to be behind the plate all 18 innings. So love to see that coming around and love to see this team playing together and playing hot. And they have some cold spells, but they seem to bounce back in a big way, and that's something Tony Vitello's teams have always done. So
yep. Nate Snead gets the win in this game as he came in relief of Aaron Combs, who kind of struggled a little bit starting the game. So Nate Snead goes 4 innings, gives up 2 runs, only 4 hits. Behind or at the plate, another 17-hit effort is a lot of home runs. There was a video that I posted on the Facebook page. It also went on Twitter and went on my TikTok of all the home runs hit in this game. Christian Moore was 2 for 4 on the day. He had one of those home runs. Blake Burke was 2 for 5. Believe it or not, he was not part of the home run parade. Billy Amick was 2 for 5. He had a home run in the game. Various Tears was 1 for 4. Robin Villeneuve was 1 for 4 as well. Cannon Peebles was 2 for 2 on the day. Dylan Dreiling was 2 for 4. He had one of the home runs. And then, I'm going to hit this one first. Hunter Inslee was 2 for 3. Then you have the big bat of the night, Dean Curley. 3 for 5 with 3 home runs. And he was 2 feet away from history. As not only did he have 3 home runs, he nearly hit for the home run cycle. I've only seen it done one time, and that was in a softball game. He started off with a grand slam. Then his next time at bat, he hit a 3-run shot. Then a 2-run bomb to center field. And his last at bat in the 8th inning, he comes up and hits one that is to the wall, and the outfielder catches it like literally 2 feet from the top of the wall.
The announcer should get fired, by the way.
And it was a solo. Oh yes, that was the worst part about it is the hit.
He literally was like, "History has been made," and then it was short and it was an out. I'm like, what a douchebag, dude! Like, you just made that whole moment even worse. Like, man, that was so bad.
I was sitting at my computer desk and I was working on some stuff for the podcast, but I was also watching the game on my phone. I turned around to my wife and I said, this guy for Tennessee has got a chance to hit the home run cycle right here.
I don't think people understand how rare that is. So you said you've seen it done once in a softball game. I seen a post. Now, granted, it could be fake, but that's never been done in organized baseball history. College, pro, AAA, like you name it. Nobody has ever hit 4 home runs in a cycle, meaning, the solo shot, the double, the 2-run home run, the 3-run home run, and then the grand slam. To do all 4 of those in a single game has never, ever been done. And the fact that this kid was so close makes it that much. I mean, it's more heartbreaking, but the fact the bats are unlocked. I mean, I love this post because it literally says, check the bats. I mean, Tennessee's doing something right now that's probably going to end up changing some rules in the NCAA once again. Yeah. For how hot the bats are, just because of how great Tony Vitello has been able to recruit and put all of these big dudes on one team and generate. I mean, it's really cool how, somebody kind of step up to the plate and you just have a feeling like, hey, this is probably going to be a home run. And, it's crazy, man. You don't see this often, man. It's crazy. No. I mean, you're lucky to get one of those players on the team. And I feel like we have 4, 5, 6 players that when they step up to the plate, I'm like, man, this could go anytime.
Yeah, and I finished what I was saying there. I turned around to my wife and I was like, he's about to hit for the home run cycle, and she said, "Has that ever been done?" I said, "I don't know about in baseball, but I've seen it once in softball." And then the hit happened. I heard the announcer, and I was like, "He just did it!" And then I just dropped my hands. I was like, "It was just short." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "It was literally 2 feet from the top of the wall."
No.
So it was crazy. But to your point about any one of those guys can come up and just hit a home run at any moment. Tennessee has hit at least 1 home run in every single game this season.
Well, they're averaging like 3 a game. I mean, we pointed out, I think we made a post about it last week, that through 12 games of the season, Tennessee had 32 home runs. That's crazy. And that number's gone up by a lot because I went and watched a game that we're about to talk about here in just a second where they got another 3 or 4 home runs. So, I mean, they're just – the bats are hot. They're hitting great. I just hope they can keep that up when we get into SEC play because that's when it's going to really matter.
But before we get into that one, we'll get into one where the bats were not so hot. Midweek contest after the big bat or the big game against Kansas State, you welcome in Southern Indiana. And you squeak out a 2-1 victory. Both of these runs were off of home runs as one of them was Christian Moore was 2 for 4 on the day with that lone home run to keep the streak going. Blake Burke was 1 for 4. Kavarius Tears was 2 for 3. Dalton Bargo was 0 for 2, but he had a sac fly to bring in the other run in the game. Dylan Dreiling was 1 for 2, and that was all in the way of hits. So, as you can see in the bottom left, I put Kirby Cannell down there. Normally, I put the winning pitcher down there. The winning pitcher in this one was Derek Schaefer, who came in for a third of an inning and got the out. But Kirby Cannell came in and pitched 3 innings to pick up the 3-inning save with 4 strikeouts, did not give up a hit or a walk in those 3 innings. So
massive.
Xander Sechrist started this game, and he pitched very well. He gave up 1 run off of 5 hits, 1 walk, and had 10 strikeouts. But just got to the point where they had to bring in a reliever, brought in Derek Schaefer for the 1 batter, and then Kirby Cannell shuts the door.
Heck yeah, dude. I mean, I This had to have been during a basketball game because I did not catch it at all.
Yeah, this was during the South Carolina basketball game.
I was wondering because I'm like, man, I don't even remember this game, but I'm glad you covered it because you covered me right there because I didn't even realize this game happened. But no, I'm glad we won. That ended up being a lot closer of a game than we've been seeing. But Tennessee's kind of on a tear right now. And I mean, let's talk about the game Friday night, the one I got to go to. Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna pull this up just because it helps me out, but. AJ Causey on the mound, dude. He's a dog, striking out 12 batters. Excuse me. It was fun. It was fun to be there. I think it was the very first inning. Billy Amick came up to the plate, decided to go yard. I mean, I caught it, dude. I'm sitting in the stands. This is the first game I got to go to this year, and I got to go with my wife, father-in-law, and then my best friend Connor. We were just sitting in, and I'm just like, yep, I'm thinking Billy Bomb right here. Bro hits it, goes oppo, and I'm like, that's not far enough. And then it carries. I'm like, oh shoot, hey, I caught it. Like it was just one of those things where, it was very fun. And then, we during the game, this is completely off topic, but during the game, we got to scan a QR code to kind of guess when the 7th inning stretch was going to be. My father-in-law, he put in 7:53, and it was at 7:52, and we had to guess. We had to guess that in like the first or second inning, and I'm like, oh my god! I was like, you might win this thing. Well, it turns out a lady behind us actually guessed it right, but I guess multiple people guessed it right because she didn't even win, and she was like, what the crap? but no, I thought it was pretty fun. Very fun. It was raining. It was kind of cold, miserable, but the boys made it fun to watch at least. So credit to them. And Tennessee got a big win to start the series against Illinois, the Fighting Illini.
So Christian Moore was 2 for 4 on the day. All Christian Moore does is just get on base in one way or another. I mean, he's constantly somewhere around that 500 mark in a game. Yeah, I think he's up at like 460 or 470, something like that on the season. I don't know that for sure, so don't hold me to that. But he's got a high batting average to start this season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why he's hitting in the leadoff spot, right? I mean, that's his job. Yeah, you either make the pitcher pitch or you get on base and get a steal and try to get into scoring position really quick and early in the game to get ahead.
Yeah, so Christian Moore 2 for 4, Blake Burke 1 for 3, Billy Amick 1 for 4 with the home run. Kavarius Tears 1 for 4. Dylan Dreiling was 2 for 3 with a home run. Dean Curley was 1 for 4. Cal Stark gets his first home run of the year. He was 1 for 4 on the night. So once again, the bats just lit up as Tennessee had 9 hits in the game with 6 runs. Get the game 1 victory over the Fighting Illini. And then yesterday, boy.
I don't even want to talk about it. This is just disrespectful. This is, or we can talk about it. 24-1. Now, so in a Loomy Saturday where the Lady Vols and the men's basketball team kind of took L's in some very just heartbreaking fashion, the Vols turn around and go 4-4-4 in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning to just dominate. I mean,
and this was after a long rain delay because they started the game at 1 Eastern. It was 12 Central Time. I remember watching the game, and Tennessee went up early, and I could see behind some of the video on the broadcast. I'm like, man, that rain is coming down.
Yeah. And
the Illinois pitchers, they struggled in the rain, where Tennessee, they just the Tennessee pitchers kept at it. I mean, Drew Beam in there, he's just dealing. He's a dude.
I don't know why. I'm pretty sure you have the option, like after the 7th inning, if you're down by 10, you can say, hey, we're done. But they didn't.
Well, I did find out the reason why. So in non-conference, a lot of the coaches want to keep playing. The Power 5 coaches anyway. They want to keep playing to get some of their guys that don't get playing time much a little bit more experience, even if they're down big like that.
Yeah, but after a rain delay and stuff like that, like I just back it up, come back another day. Like, I mean, especially in a series, it's not like you made the trip for one game, and you know what I mean. Like, you're there for 3 games. Stop. Like, this is terrible. 20 hits, bro. I mean, it's just, that's wild. And I don't know if this is just a difference in pitching or what, but I didn't feel like Illinois was that bad on Friday night. I thought they played really good, honestly. But I do know Tennessee's a really good team as well. But no, this is pretty bad. And I think you mentioned that Tennessee's already taken a big leap toward today's game as well to possibly get another sweep before. But look, we knew this 2-3 weeks ago. Tennessee was about to be on a 15-game home streak. Now, I mean, it's turned into a home winning streak, but 15-game win. Wow, I did it again. Oh my goodness, 15-game home stretch.
There you go.
There we go. And they're doing what they need to do, which is win them all. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. I didn't think when I asked you this way back, I didn't really think that Tennessee had a chance to win all of them, to go into SEC play with one loss. But, I mean, how do you feel now? I mean, do you think that that's actually very, very possible? I mean,
yeah, I don't think that they lose before they play Alabama next weekend.
Yeah, I don't think they do either. Which even in their best season when they only lost like 7 to 9 games, I can't remember what the actual record was. But I even think they had multiple losses before they got into SEC play.
I think they only had one, and that was against Tennessee Tech in a midweek game. It was
a Woodbat game.
That was the Woodbat Classic.
Yep, it was the Woodbat game. But like I said, I thought that they lost another one even after that. But either way, no, I mean, the Tennessee team's rolling. They got some good pitching. They got some guys out of the pen. And the bats, I mean, I'm not even worried about the offense. I'm really not.
I'm not either. And let me go down this long box score.
Oh, you really about to do that? You really about to go? Okay.
I want to shout out some of these guys that maybe don't get as much time.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. Go ahead.
Christian Moore was 1 for 3. He had a home run in the game. Brad Key Lowry came in to replace him late in the game. He was 1 for 3. Blake Burke was 3 for 4, and he had a home run in the game.
And 2 doubles.
Yeah, and 2 doubles. Christian Moore also had a home run in that one. Let's see. Charlie Taylor came in. Let's see. Charlie was actually 0 for 3. Billy Amick was 2 for 3 in the game. Billy actually did not have a home run in the game. I'm kind of surprised.
Unbelievable. He was averaging like 3 a game.
Yeah. Camden Bates came in, pitch hit. He was 1 for 2. Kavarius Tears has now extended his hitting streak in this game to 14 games. He has reached safely in all 15 games up to this point. I'll look at the box score real quick of
him and
today's
Dylan Dreiling
game.
as a 1-2 punch is crazy, dude.
Yeah, so Kavarius Tears 1 for 3. Dylan Dreiling was 1 for 3. Cannon Peebles 1 for 4. Ethan Payne 1 for 1. Dalton Bargo 1 for 2. Dean Curley 2 for 4. Hunter High was 2 for 2. Reese Chapman with a big bat on the day. He was 3 for 4 as he had a home run and 2 doubles. Hunter High also had 2 doubles in the game. Dalton Bargo had a home run. Kavarius Tears had a double in the game. So a lot of hits in the game. Drew Beam got the win. Pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 run. Off of 4 hits, he had 5 strikeouts. So big day yesterday for the Vols. I will pull up real quick the box score on today's game as Tennessee right now is leading 8-3 going into the top of the 9th inning. I was talking real highly about Christian Moore earlier. He's actually 0 for 5 on the day right now. Blake Burke is 1 for 2. He's got a home run on the day. Billy
Burke is. Sorry to cut you off. Blake Burke is on a rhythm right now, unlike any other. I mean, I know he's not hitting bombs left and right like Billy Amick is, but I think Blake Burke's batting average has never been higher in his career than it is right now.
The thing I love about Blake Burke is this season is, last season he was pretty much home run walk, or strikeout.
Yep.
It was one of those 3.
He's been able to flip that narrative completely.
He's actually leading the league right now in doubles. And most of those are to opposite field. And the fact that he is able to use the whole field now and is not just a pull hitter, that makes him an unbelievable batter.
Makes me wonder if he did like a swing change or something. Because like I said, man, he has completely flipped the script. And I think scouts in the MLB are going to appreciate that more than just the raw power that he's got. I mean, he's going to get his, all right? Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But seeing him utilize the whole field and get on base a lot more often is really good to see from Blake Burke.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy Amick is 1 for 2. Kavarius Tears has once again extended his hitting streak to now 15 games. He's reached safely in all 16 games this year. He's 1 for 3. Dylan Dreiling, 1 for 3. Robin Villeneuve is 1 for 3. He hit the big grand slam back earlier that blew the game open. Hunter Inslee is 1 for 2 in the game. So the Vols right now trying to close out this game. As I mentioned, it is 8-3, top of the 9th inning. So we will see. I can't see. I'm trying to see who the pitcher is. I believe it's still Nate Snead, who came in to replace Aaron Combs earlier in the ball game. So Nate Snead going for his 4th win on the year. So that wraps up this week's recap. As it was a lot going on between the Lady Vols and the SEC tournament. The Vols winning the SEC regular season, and then the Lady Vols and Vols baseball and softball just continuing to rake.
That's right. I want to remind the folks that we are sponsored by Chris Smith Insurance. We have segment sponsors at Optimal Asbestos Services, and we also have P&L Business Services for your accounting needs. And then lastly, Kaizen Painting for all your interior and outdoor painting needs. We just want to thank you guys for sponsoring us, for letting us do our thing, do what we love, and hopefully help you guys out in the process. And lastly, I do want to ask, because we got to talk about it.
Yep.
Who's winning the SEC tournament?
The only right answer is Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, well,
but
is it?
I mean, that's the right answer for us is Tennessee. But
I mean, I don't necessarily want to see you just pull out your homerism. Who do you think's going to win the?
No, I really think that the way that Kentucky is playing right now, they'll win the SEC tournament. But do I think long term Kentucky can make a run to the Final Four? Maybe. Will they win the whole thing? No, because the defense is going to eventually catch them in the rear end.
Yeah, I got you.
But sitting here today, I think it's Kentucky. But I will say, if it's Tennessee and Kentucky in the SEC title game,
I like my chances.
Yes, I like my chances in that one.
Because I don't see Kentucky shooting 50% from the 3-point arc again.
No.
But I mean, they are the offensive team to do it. But no, I think the boys can. I think the boys can do it.
Sorry to cut you off. I also don't think that Tennessee is going to struggle as a team the way that they did against Kentucky this last time. I think it's going to be more of a rounded effort.
Yeah.
It was that rough.
And I think they had so many distractions from, one, clinching the SEC, and then 2, senior day, and I don't know, whatever. But all in all, they caught Kentucky. They're healthy. They were playing good. I'd like to play them again. I really would. Just to kind of see.
I will too.
Yeah, especially in a neutral setting. It won't be that neutral. We'll be in Nashville. So, I mean, there'll probably be a lot of Tennessee folks there if we make the championship game. But either way, I do think that Tennessee has every ability and opportunity to go out and sweep the SEC championships, if that's how you want to put it. But, that's who I'm rolling with. I've been rolling with them all year, and I've been making money on them. So we're going to keep it going. So
yeah, I do want to pull this up real quick. My mom commented Tennessee softball did win 11-0 in 5 innings today. So yet another shutout on the list for the Lady Vols. But
that is 5 in a row and 5 of the last 6.
Yeah, that's awesome. But
that's insane.
But before we get off, I will say this will not be part of the regular Vol Fanatics show, but I will be on video tomorrow night with a guy from Mississippi State, also a guy from Kentucky, and I believe a guy from Missouri is also going to be on. Skylar might possibly get on, depending on what his schedule is like. We're going to have an SEC tournament preview going on. It will not be live, but it will be posted before the SEC tournament starts on Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. Skylar, you have any closing remarks before we get out of here today?
No, man, I just want to kind of get back on the winning ways for all the sports. We might have a week off, I guess, for the ladies, until they kind of figure out where they're at. But let's get back to the winning ways, baseball, softball, basketball, both sports, man. We just really need to appreciate as fans where we are as an athletic program because it's at an all-time high.
Yep. I actually did just think of one thing just quickly. Former Vol football player Jalen Reeves-Maben was named the president of the NFL Players Association. So
that's massive.
All for life, doing big things.
No, absolutely. That's big, and happy for him. And I don't think there's anybody better for that role. So congratulations to Jalen Reeves-Maben. I'm
with you. So guys, appreciate you tuning in today wherever you're watching the episode, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, or listening to it on Spotify or Apple. Also, you can watch on Twitter, wherever you catch us. We appreciate you tuning in.
Hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely. Go Big Orange.
I'm a ball for life, y'all. I bleed orange and white, y'all. I will till I die, y'all. I'm a ball for life, yeah. Raised up on John Ward, giving sticks in the checkerboard.